Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Marcus Speaks. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Marcus Speaks Live. I'm your host, Marcus, and this is Marcus Speaks Live. Now, I am going to be going over some promotions first. Then we're going to get into the show, so please sit tight. Um, if you see what's on your screen right now, please read over it, as well as me going over it with you. The scrolling ticker down there at the bottom, that is for you. Please read over it. That's all of my social medias, things you can suggest to me, times I come on, and just some other things. So read over for me, because that is for you. And in the meantime, if you could, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe if you are new here. Hit that bell icon to also get all of my notifications once I go live. And don't be shy, write something in that live chat. I would love to see what you have to say. I do 2 shows every weekend. Friday, I do a game stream called Marcus Speaks Play. Marcus Speaks Play you can find on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Marcus Speaks channel, as well as on Saturday, this here live podcast. You can find this also at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. All right. Excuse me. So, where am I? So please don't forget. If you could do me a favor, one favor, don't forget to check me out. Also, please subscribe, as I've been saying, to this here channel, but also have a secondary channel that is on rumble.com. All right, if you go to rumble.com, the link of my channel is in the description box. Hit that, subscribe, because once I get, I think it's 25 subscribers, I can start streaming live over there. So if you guys ever want to catch me over there doing some how can I put it? Some non-filtered content. All right. Please subscribe, and I will do you that favor. Plus, here on the podcast, if I simulcast and things start getting spicy over here on the over here on YouTube, we can cut this stream, we can head on over to Rumble, and we can keep the conversation going. All right, with no filters. If you ever want to come and talk to me on the show here, you can by hitting the link that is pinned in the live chat as we speak. All right. But if you hit that link, there are 3 rules. Those 3 rules are: you must be on camera at all times. That means here on the backstage, and if you want to be on camera to the public, all right? I have to see who I'm speaking with before I bring you up here, all right? So there is a question back here I would like for you to answer. Please leave your name and your answer so I can better service you to, helping you out of what you want to do, all right? Also, if you don't want to be on camera, that is fine. You still have to be on camera here on the backstage so I know who I'm speaking with. And the third rule is mute all background noise so, no one hears what's going on in your personal life. For the better, I'm trying to run a semi-professional podcast here, so please do me that one favor and I will better accommodate you. And if you don't want to hit the link at all, if you want to talk without, having to load up your camera, go to a website you've never been to before, whatever. I have a call-in number now, which is 302-283-9791. So if you hit 302-283-9791, I'm still trying to remember it because I just got it. So call the number. You'll be able to call in, talk to me, and the audience will be able to hear you as well. And do me this one favor as we speak again. Please like this video, subscribe if you are new here, hit that bell icon to all, and share this stream on your respected social medias. All right. So tonight's going to be a great show. But before I start, if you've ever watched any of my podcasts,
hello everyone.
I booted that up too fast. If you ever watched any of my shows, really my podcast, I'm getting. If you ever watch my podcast, I like playing videos. For the reason being is because it helps further my point in what I'm saying to you guys. So if you guys want to get a better understanding of what's going on, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So let me move that back. So if you want to get a better understanding of what I'm speaking about, that's the reason why I play videos. But I want to be able to follow not only the YouTube policies and guidelines, I also want to follow the law at the same time. So if you guys don't know what fair use is, this is exactly what fair use is.
Hello everyone. I'm going to tell you about fair use. It's the law. Warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107.
All right. So that's fair use. Just as a disclaimer, I'm here on the East Coast. We are going through we're about to go through a thunderstorm, I believe. So if I cut out, I don't know when I'll be back because, so if it cuts out, I'll remember my place where I'm at and I'll just put continuing part 2, whatever, and then we'll go on. All right. So, today's show, we will be speaking about a few things, some things that's been going on in the world. Well, not really the world here in America, but got some trending topics. If you guys just heard that, like I said, I don't know what's about to happen. We're about to have a thunderstorm here. So hopefully it just goes over us and we don't have to deal with it. All right. So tonight's show, I have some great shit lined up for you guys tonight. So with that being said, you guys, we can basically, go over those things. So if you looked at the thumbnail, I will be speaking about Judge Joe Brown and this whole thing that's like circling him right now. Which is disgusting, really, because for somebody to claim that this man did them wrong, I don't know the man personally, but whatever. So we will be getting into that tonight, as well as some other random topics. But for a little bit of banter, if you guys have been on YouTube recently, a YouTuber by the name of Pearly Things has been trending not only here on YouTube but also on social media. So the reason why she has been trending is because she had uh the guy that's next to her, Nick Fuentes, had him on her podcast 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. And they was talking about some very salacious things on the podcast. So a person that worked with her directly made a video recently, and I want to play that tonight because it's kind of important to know what the inner workings of Miss Pearly Things, was doing. So what I will do, I will play you that video right now because I believe it's very important that we bring this up. So if you go over some things to set this video up. So Pearly had Nick Fuentes on her show. Nick Fuentes is a self-proclaimed racist and right wing, extreme right wing pundit. He's been kicked off various social medias for his views. Uh, Pearl thought it would be okay to have him on the show to talk over some things as he was being very direct with his approach of how he feels about certain races, not only in America but um, across the world. So Sarah Garvey, the guy that you see right now, who will be speaking in a little bit, he directly worked with Pearl for several months or so, or a couple years or so now. So basically, what's going on is that a lot of a lot of people who tuned into Pearly Things doesn't like what she said while having Nick Fuentes on when it comes to slavery and African Americans, and so on and so forth. So it was a very spicy top. It was some spicy topics that they were talking about there on the show, and it made a little bit. Well, it made Sarah Garvey and a few of her co-hosts or employees, as some people are calling them, very uncomfortable with what she had to say about the conversation at hand that's going on right now on YouTube. So Sarah Garvey will be talking about that in detail and his experiences with Pearl himself. So I'm gonna let him take it away right now.
Well, I'm making this video today that I didn't initially want to make, but there comes a time when we're all at a crossroad and have to make a decision. And sometimes that decision can affect you morally, it can affect you spiritually, and it can affect you financially. But it's a decision that we can't shy away from. Now, recently, Just Pearly Things has been caught up in some controversy. Why? She has interviewed avid racist and known racist Nick Fuentes. He is also an anti-Semite. What did Pearl do when she interviewed him? What she done is that she laughed with him and seems to agree with a lot of his points.
Talk about instances of like when they initially freed the slaves, there were some slaves that felt so indebted to their owners that they would travel across states to pay them back, and they actually had a really good relationship with them.
Now, If she had said some of these things about the Jewish community, she would have been cancelled in a hot minute. Ask Kyrie Irving. Ask Kanye West. Now, this isn't about the Jewish community. This is about us. Okay? And so after that interview, Pearl decided to make an apology video, which was, in my personal point of view, disingenuous and a PR stunt. And all in all, it came from a place of deception.
Guys, people say that stuff about me. They say I'm sexist. They say I'm a misogynist. And, I really just like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I interview them. I don't go into interviews trying to interrogate someone. I just more try to listen and see where they're coming from. In hindsight, that wasn't smart. And in hindsight, I should have had someone, maybe Sarah Garvey, maybe another content creator that could have pushed back more and really was more educated on the topics that he was talking about than I was, because I certainly was not an expert in any of the stuff that he was talking about.
Now, I've been on social media for a while, and I have done interviews with the likes of Tommy Robinson, Sargon of Akkad, politicians like Lee Jasper, and also Lin May and people from the music industry like So Solid, Mega Man to be exact. Now, Pearl was reacting to my content prior to coming to the UK. And so when she came to the UK, I was very interested in the content that she would actually put out. And it just so happened that she was putting out content that I was interested in, similar to what the late, great Kevin Samuels actually put out.
All right, so let me stop there for a little bit. This is what's going on. So as we all know, last year, Kevin Samuels died. So when did it happen? Around about May or June or so. So after he died, there was basically a meeting of let's say it was a meeting of the Red Pill Minds. All right. And they basically were trying to siphon out who would be the new quote unquote godfather. All right. So with that being said, everybody who was close to Kevin Samuels, everybody who knew Kevin Samuels, anybody who interacted with Kevin Samuels was going for his spot. All right. They was going for what? Top tier. What does Andrew Tate call himself? Top G. All right. So after that, the person I just brought up, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate slid in a month after and started blowing up. So some people will say that Andrew Tate took that spot. But a little person, a woman, white woman at that, claimed her spot as, I guess, top G of the Black Manosphere. So if you guys ever watch any of my content, you know that I've brought up the Black Manosphere several times, basically combating their ideology. All right, I combated Fresh and Fit's ideology, and I also combated Kevin Samuels' ideology. All right, none of them came on my show to defend themselves. Hopefully, whenever I get bigger, I can rehash those videos. Well, Kevin Samuels can't, but I'm pretty sure any of his cohorts will probably would like to defend his side of the argument. But not only did Andrew Tate blow up, but Pearly things blew up as well. So with this whole, them blowing up and people knowing them and recognizing them, and them going on several podcasts to basically promote themselves and stuff like that, they then they had to come with content. So Andrew Tate, he did his content. Everyone got his point of view. He got followers. Also, Pearly things. Little thing that some people don't know. Pearl went on to Kevin Samuels' show one time. I believe she went on there, I guess, to see, how he would rate her, and her, however he rated people, right? So I'm guessing he rated her, she didn't like it, or people didn't like it, and then Pearl started to blow up. Uh, what, like a year later? So, with that being said, Pearl recently, and I'm going to rehash this, recently had Nick Fuentes on, and they had a spicy conversation. When it came to slavery and colonization in Africa, she had everything to say about it, her thoughts and feelings, and how she felt that how it went back then, knowing she never lived back in those times. So this is what people are really upset with her about right now, and a lot of people on the internet that follow either her or other people in the Black Manosphere, or just content creators who Black content creators at that, and some white, who don't like disrespect when it comes to people's races and stuff like that. They have chimed in on uh, this whole ordeal. So with that being said, I'm gonna continue this video of what Sarah had to say, because Sarah, as I said earlier, worked with Pearl directly, as he stated in the video. So we will continue what he has to say, and hopefully we get some little nuggets from what he has to say as well of how Pearl runs her business.
Understand it, because I myself had been embroiled in court cases and things of that nature when it comes to the mother of my son, and understand that the gynocentric order in which we live in is something that needs to be spoken about. So when she came to London, she said that she wanted to make a podcast, and I said, no problem. Okay, let's talk about it. And I decided to feature on her show. Now, when I featured on her show, because of my following in the UK, people would tune in. So essentially, I helped Pearl grow her channel. Okay, I was on there week to week, and I was working with her based on a fee. So the tragic death of Kevin Samuels happened, and there was a vacuum within the manosphere space. Who was it going to be filled by? It was actually filled by just Pearly Things, along with other content creators. Now, I believe that the reason why this space was filled is because Kevin Samuels had a large following of Black men. And these Black men were essentially fed up with the way feminism had taken over their community, specifically their women. So when he died, there was a vacuum and a lot of Black men looking for content like this. And it was filled by Pearl. And I believe that Pearl rose to fame because she herself was the opposite of what those men had been seeing. She was a white woman. She wasn't the types of women that they had been seeing. And essentially, she was regurgitating Kevin Samuels' content. So,
Now, I will say this, and I'm not trying to put anybody on Front Street, but there has been claims of Kevin Samuels stealing content as well. And what do I mean by stealing? This is what I mean by stealing. Taking another YouTube content creator's talking points and then regurgitating them as his own. So Kevin Samuels is very guilty of this. So, with that being said, the very person who he stole his talking points from is a person that everyone knows in a way, but since he is the king of controversy, and there's a thunderstorm happening, as I told you, and if you guys heard that, I don't know how much time I got left, but the man was coined the king of controversy. That very man, his name is Tommy Sotomayor. So, Tommy, along with his followers who's been following him for years, they pulled up some of Tommy's old content. Now, some people saved his content for later, so, you know, or they downloaded it when you could download YouTube videos. Um, they downloaded his content and they would chop it up and send it to Tommy and show him exactly in one video of Kevin's, of many, of where Kevin stole his talking point from. So, with that being said, uh, with that being said, a lot of the talking points that the Black Manosphere talk about today is not from Kevin. It's actually from Tommy. I followed Tommy for a small amount of time. When he was doing his regular content that on black men and black women and relationships and stuff like that, and amongst other things. I used to watch his content. Then some things happened where I found some stuff out about him from another content creator. I talked about him a few weeks ago, Corey Holcomb. They had beef. I was more of a Corey Holcomb fan, so I took the Corey Holcomb side. But as of recent, probably within maybe the year and a half or so, I've been paying attention to Tommy's content again. Tommy doesn't really do much of the same content that he used to, but still along the lines of what he used to do, along with politics and other things. But Pearly Things stole, well, let's not say steal. Pearly Things regurgitated Kevin Samuels' points, which Kevin Samuels' points was Tommy Sotomayor's points. And like I said, I combated this in a video, Kevin Samuels' philosophy, and I put it up against the late great comedians, Patrice O'Neal's relationship advice. And in that video, Patrice O'Neal came out the top contender. And I'm not saying, he won because, he's funny. I'm saying that he won because he had more of a sound he had more of a sound philosophy other than Kevin Samuels. That's the reason why he won in that video that I did. You can check it out if you want to. It's called Philosophy versus Philosophy. So anyway, I'm rambling right now. So Pearly Things looked at what the Black Manosphere was doing by way of Kevin Samuels and then went from there. So I'm gonna let Cyrod talk some more. I'm gonna skip around in some parts, but Cyrod's making a very good statement right now about his feelings about Pearl and her content. So let's continue.
Began working with Pearl, and from the beginning, I started to think that maybe this girl has a colonial mindset. Now, we all know that we don't want to be paranoid, so I kept working with her. However, the more I worked with her is the more that I saw. She had a colonial type viewpoint when it came to Black people, and I had to school her a few times on what it was like to be Black and the Black experience, and also what slavery and colonization was actually like.
Do you think that historical catastrophes must be compensated for?
No.
No.
That's stupid.
So then, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
So then, how come there were groups of people that got compensation then?
How come?
For instance, like Jewish people, Chinese people, Japanese people with the bombs. Like there were groups of people who got compensated.
I don't know.
So it wasn't fair.
What? Well, I'm talking about like when I think about groups.
Wait a minute. How don't you know certain communities got how don't you know that certain communities got compensated for atrocities that happened to them. And he named some of them off too. He named Japanese, Chinese, Jewish. Well, he will. I don't know if he did already. I was listening, but not listening. So how is it that those people got compensation for the atrocities that they went through, but us as black people and Africans who went through slavery and colonization, and by way of South Africa, the apartheid, how is it that none of us got any compensation from the very groups that look like her? Now, right now, black people are fighting for reparations. The state of California is about to pay off. Well, that sounds bad, but the state of California is about to pay reparations to their black or African American citizens. By way of Michigan, I forgot what town that was that did it, or I think it was Ohio, a town or a city in Ohio. They pay reparations to their black citizens. So I don't know if California is borrowing that framework of how they did it, but as you all know, if you guys don't know, I'm about to tell you. The saying goes that as California goes, so does the country. So basically stating that when there are laws or certain things that they want to try out, they try them out in California first. And then after they try them out in California, if the country likes the idea and they want to adopt the idea, then the idea then gets adopted by the country. So as three strikes rule, what else? Jail sentences when it comes to drugs and violence, and what else? I think that's it. I could be off on by one, but there's a few things that they tried over. Did I say three strikes? If I didn't say three strikes, three strikes. But if I said it already, I said it twice. But the three strikes ruling happened in California first. Now the country adopted it way back when. But you get my point. But I don't believe that Pearl has the wherewithal to understand these atrocities, because, and I don't want to blame it on her skin color, but I believe that plays a part in it. And however she grew up, from what I hear, she's from the Midwest. So we're talking about middle of we're talking about middle America. Middle America, when I was growing up, certain things couldn't happen on TV because how would people in middle America think about it? Blah, 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 right? So she's from middle America. She's from the Midwest. So, maybe it's because of that upbringing. She didn't have much flavor around us, as far as black folks. She didn't grow up on the East Coast or the West Coast, so it's a whole culture of things that happen on each coast. But the Midwest, these landlocked states, they, I guess they have a different type of way that they grow up or something. I'm not sure. I'm not from the Midwest, so maybe that plays a part in how she was brought up by her family. Who knows? And who knows? If in her family, way back in the records, way back in the day, if her ancestors owned slaves or not. Who knows? Well, let's continue this video. We don't have much on this, and we'll take it from here. And I'll have a few things to say after we're done.
I think about reparations. So I mean, maybe if the people were still alive today, like, I don't know, maybe. But like when you said historical, I thought you meant like in the past, not the present.
Yeah, so like in the past, so like people talk about slavery. So in the past, the Holocaust happened in the past, the Japanese, but people got compensated for it.
Yeah.
there's a book, right, called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And when you read that book, you realize that the whole Industrial Revolution and stuff like that was started because of the colonization. And you just think, well, if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be as successful.
So what do you mean by the colonization?
So the colonization of Africa, so both the people and the resources, right? There's a direct correlation between the colonization of Africa and the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
And so with all the metals and the rubber and all this kind of stuff coming from Africa, it fueled the Industrial Revolution of the West.
Wait, so you're saying like in Africa, when you say colonize, you're saying like did England come in and colonize?
Yeah, like so European, France, Spain.
You named the Western European country. They did it when going, the most or the worst person to ever go into Africa and colonize the place would be King Leopold. King Leopold went into the Congo, and he treated those what's their names? The Congolese. The Congolese had a lot of bad things happen to them, such as children getting their hands cut off. I believe it was about 35 million of them that King Leopold's forces killed. What else? Like, this is everything that goes into Europe colonizing Africa. But let's not get into, the whole slavery part of all of this, where, African Americans today don't know their lineage all that well, for the simple fact that we were never taught. We wasn't taught in school, and with this whole CRT argument happening right now, and as we speak, when it comes to certain states, and certain states don't want to adopt a CRT. CRT to me is just real history. That's all that it is to me. Like, I don't see CRT being anything else other than the real history. And the way that most parents are looking at it is, I don't want my kid to be hated for something that he didn't do or she didn't do. It's like, well, you gotta look at it like this. This is to any of my white audience members. You gotta look at it like this. Black people had to hear in history class about all of the great things that white inventors and white engineers and white kings and white queens and stuff like that did within their lifetimes and their rulership over their countries. But the only bit that we got was we were slaves. Then there was the civil rights movement, and then everybody's fine today, and we all love each other, which is beyond the truth. So, how would you take it if the roles was switched? Let's say that Africa colonized Europe or Western Europe, and the only thing that you guys had to go off of was that you guys were slaves. There was some sort of an uprising, and now today everybody loves each other. How would you feel if that was your history? It's the same thing that black people are thinking when it comes to our history. Why is it that we only know but so little, but you tell us so much about your history? That's all that it is. And that's what I believe what CRT is. Now, what happened in Florida when it comes to, how they want to go about CRT? Look, I don't believe that is real CRT, which they say you learn or it's an elective course in college, CRT. So it's either you want to take it, or I don't know if you have to take it. So either or, it's like, who knows what the real history of, or the real curriculum surrounding CRT is. Who knows? We haven't seen a syllabus of how they structure the lessons and stuff like that. So the only thing we can go off of is that some parents don't want CRT um, in the schools that their children go to. So that's the only thing that we have to go off of. So we really don't know what CRT is. But the ignorance that Pearl is showing when it comes to certain groups getting, I won't even call it a payout, it's basically what we deserve for the atrocities that our ancestors been through. Because a psychologist would say that the things that happened to the Africans of yesteryear in slavery times, that of what they went through genetically bonded with them to where their offspring and their offspring's offspring will hold those same traumas within them as well. So if that's the case, and that is true, then let's look at how America has treated African Americans for what, 200 years? Like, it's just disgusting. Like, slavery ended, we wanted to do for self, towns got bombed, towns got raided, men went to jail, and it's like, that's not just our history right there. Like, there's more to our history than what they're telling us. So why is it that we can't learn about our true history? That's all that black people are really asking when it comes to, when it comes to them wanting to learn as far as a student in school. Now, I would always say that it's really up to us to learn what our true history is. We have various black professors that are within the pro-black sense, um, that's done their studies, that's been to Africa, that's researched black people's history as far as Africa and the Caribbean and stuff like that, and they did the excavations, and they saw where our genome really comes from. Like, it's all there. It's just that we just need to be able to have the right to sit down and learn this stuff the way that when we're in school and we learn about the Civil War or World War One or World War Two or Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or Andrew Jackson, or how the country got structured, how the country came about, who we were, who ruled America before America ruled itself. Like, we know all this stuff, but when it comes to us actually knowing our own history, that's the part we don't know. And Pearl looks like the type of person that will say, well, that wasn't you, so why are you worried about something that you didn't have to go through? Which is entirely wrong, because it's important to know where you came from so you know where you've been and you know where you're going. So that's what I would say to Pearl. If I ever had a debate with her when it comes to, race or anything, like, I would tell her, look, your history. Probably your first, if you had a immigrant great grandfather and he came here to this country and stuff like that. If you know that stuff, why is that I don't know that? I don't know where my great grandfather, what, if he was a slave, which I do have, I do have it in my family, or that's That's speaking present tense. I did have a few slaves in my family, so in my family tree. That all came from Lower Maryland. This is exactly where Harriet Tubman was from. So I want to know myself: Did Harriet Tubman play a role in any of my ancestors being freed? Did my ancestors follow Harriet Tubman? Like, I would love to know that. So with that being said, we'll get back into the video. I just wanted to rant and say a few things real quick because I feel as though that they're important in what Sarah is doing. Just trying to educate her a little bit makes sense to me because if you're going to be around a whole bunch of black people, you got to know that there are certain things you can't say, do, or think about when you are around them. So, let's get back into this video. And I guess I'll finish up here after he gives, his explanation about this, and then we'll end it here.
Portugal,
Okay.
England.
And they like enslaved Africans, and
Yes.
that's what you're saying. Okay.
So they enslaved and at least colonized the continent.
Okay.
So when you colonize a continent and then you take ownership of the resources, you're able to gather those resources together and use them to your own benefit.
Right.
And so you gather those resources, use them to your own benefit, and build up your economy, all the while messing up the economy of that actual country.
Right.
So that video was filmed in 2022. And in that video, what you saw was me attempting to tell Pearl and show Pearl what colonization was like. How people went to another group of people and took their resources and took what was theirs and built their empire off of it. So when Pearl now plays like she doesn't know what colonization is, and she doesn't know what slavery is, and she says these insensitive statements, in that video, I actually attempted to give her a book. It was called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. I've read it myself. She semi-dismissed that book. She kind of dismissed that book. And then she went on with herself to go and interview a man like Nick Fuentes. Pearl has Africans that work for her. Now, Nigeria has many issues. Now, the disparity in Nigeria has rich and poor people living just on the breadline. And Pearl has these types of people working for her. They edit her videos. They make her thumbnails.
So, look what I have here. This is evidence to show how hard my Americans work.
No, hold on. You forgot, yeah?
What?
This is how hard my white Americans work.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They're very hard workers.
Yes.
I like how they work. My white Americans really work hard. You see that?
They inspire us to work hard.
No. Do you know what? They don't even inspire. They're working hard for themselves, bro.
Okay.
You know, they're putting in a lot of work, yeah? They put in a lot of work. My white
Yes.
white
You
Americans
guys should
work hard.
Work hard.
Yeah, you can.
So Pearl.
Okay, so I believe the rest of this probably isn't that important, so I won't play it. So during the interview with Nick Fuentes, Pearl talked about how she wanted to immigrate her Africans. She used that term, my Africans, to bring them back to the States so they can work over there instead of her staying in London. I'm pretty sure because of the probably the worker laws, or probably, I don't know, probably she thought that the workers laws were better here than over in London. But who knows? Who knows what her reason is for? So a lot of people are basically bringing up that in that clip that was just shown, that I believe his name is King Riches or King Richie or something like that. The guy that was wearing the hat. They said that since he used that term, my white Americans, that what is the problem for her to say my Africans? Well, I would say this. We all know when it comes to terms of saying, racial epithets and stuff like that, that, you know, whatever your connotation is when you say these things is basically how people will think about you. So, you know, although let's say Pearl didn't have a negative connotation behind when she said my Africans, because it didn't seem as though that King Richie was, or Riches, whatever his name is, we'll just call him King Richie. That he said my Africans, I'm sorry, my white Americans, and people are saying that, well, we shouldn't have an issue because that was said first, and then she said what she said when interviewing Nick Fuentes. So, I would say this. Pearl addressed this. She made a 12-minute apology video. The What's coming up now is that the apology video was actually fake. That she didn't mean exactly what she said in the video. So I will say this, if that is true. Shame on Pearl for doing what she did. Now, as far as what I know so far with this is that Pearl's now on vacation, and when she comes back, she's gonna give everyone a earful who has dissed her about this whole thing. So we can only wait and see what she has to say when she comes back. And I will say this, um, who knows what she'll say. So, a lot of people have gotten away from her, such as I believe it's Sarah, who was just on the screen. Sarah Garvey has gotten away from her. I believe that King Richie came out with a video where he addressed the situation, but I believe he still works for Pearl. There's another lady that works for him, Auntie Jenny. I believe Auntie Jenny signed her life away to Pearl. So, just like the same thing that happened last week, me talking about Adam 22 and how Adam 22, few of his ex-employees have gotten away from him. We're basically saying the same thing with Pearl. We're basically saying that Pearl is having a hard time, just like because it was basically the same stunt that Adam 22 pulled. Adam 22 had I forgot his name. He had some racist on his show who said that he's now reformed. And then Pearl has Nick Fuentes on her show. I believe this all happened within the same week, if not weeks between each other. But like I said earlier, we can only see what happens next when Pearl comes back from vacation. So I'll end that here, and whenever this comes about, I will be talking about it again. All right. So how about we get into today's show? I have a nice show lined up for you. That was just some small banter. So how about we go over tonight's main topic overview? And tonight's main topic overview is Sheryl Lee Ralph says a famous judge sexually assaulted her. Now, if you guys don't know and you guys been underneath of a rock, I will tell you this now, that some things was said on Angela Yee's new podcast, Way Up. So Angela Yee had actress, singer, I believe she's a thespian as well. Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph, you may know her from Moesha and as of recent Abbott Elementary. For anybody older who's watching, you probably saw her in theater during when she was playing in Dreamgirls. an ode to girl groups of the past. So Sheryl Lee Ralph recently went on to the Way Up radio or podcast show that Angela Yee heads now. That's where she, as we all know, Angela Yee departed from the Breakfast Club for a different venture. So she now has her own radio show, and she is now she's now the head of that show right now. But when she had Sheryl Lee Ralph on, Sheryl Lee Ralph was on there promoting her new book, Diva 2.0. And within the interview, she brought up how she was sexually assaulted several times over the course of, 25 years or so. And she talked about a certain judge that she did not name. She did bring up Judge Mathis as being a kind man, but then she left the space open for speculation. So when she did that, everyone on social media started roaring about Judge Joe Brown being the culprit in her story. Now, I will say this: Judge Joe Brown has been tremendously going on various podcasts and basically laying everything out of how he feels about everything and how he basically how he feels about everything, and he's basically given everyone some math of when he got into Hollywood and when Cheryl was in Hollywood. As you guys also know, if you guys have ever watched, I believe it was Sister Act she was in as Lauryn Hill's mother. Well, Sister Act 2. She played in several other movies. I can't remember what movie she was in towards like the late 80s, if not mid 80s, into the 90s, and also into the 2000s. So, Sheryl Lee Ralph has a good, track record of, as far as her being certain TV moms and movie moms and stuff like that. But this right here is basically it could make her, it could make or break her book sales, to be honest. Because Judge Joe Brown has a bone to pick with this lady because he doesn't feel as though that it was right for her to leave an innuendo open for people to speculate that he is the man that everyone is pointing the finger at when it comes to her talking about her past issues with the business, with men in the business at that. So I have two clips where Angela Yee brings up the whole thing, and she rehashes the interview that was spoken of when Sheryl Lee Ralph was there. Also, I have Judge Joe Brown's statement when it comes to this whole thing, and him giving us some years of him explaining his side of the story, since people want to speculate him into this. So let's get into this clip. I'm gonna read you this article that I have. Oh yeah, all videos and all articles are credited down in the description box. So if you're one of the people that I use, just know I'm not, well, it's all fair use, but I'm not saying that I own any of this content. I'm just using this content. So let's get into this. I believe this is about 3 minutes or so. So let's get into it.
Right, now let's talk about Sheryl Lee Ralph and this whole situation. She was on Way Up with Angela Yee. Mm-hmm. And this all came up because in her book, right, she has her book about Diva 2.0. Yep. And she briefly in her book mentions a situation where a promoter put his hand on her leg and that there were several instances where men were inappropriate to her, and she started to question herself over that, right? As she was a young actress on the come up. And she then, when we questioned her further about it, detailed an experience that happened to her in front of network executives. Here's what she said.
This was a famous TV judge, not Judge Mathis. I love him. He's a great man. I'm at a very public place. I had my suit on. I was handling my business for the television show I was on at that time. He and I were on the same network. This man walked in, grabbed me by the back of my neck, turned me around, and rammed his nasty tongue down my throat.
Oh my God.
Serious? And everybody at the network saw it. I called Mark Morial. Mark Morial, he said, you want me to send the police there right now? Somebody at the network tapped me on the shoulder. They said, please don't.
All right. Well, Judge Joe Brown then posted, because I guess a lot of people started tagging him.
Right.
He said there's false rumors being spread that I mistreated a certain lady 25 years ago. By the way, no one said 25 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He said, I categorically deny both those rumors and any acquaintance with the lady in question. And then somebody posted Judge Joe Brown for mayor of Memphis and said the timing is uncanny. And I guess he's trying to say that he's running for mayor. Maybe that's why. And then he also said that he might bring in his team, his legal team. Here's what he had to say as he did a video about this on YouTube.
Before we get into that, this is what I will say before I play his part of the video. Now, the reason why he brought up 25 years is because the TV show she was speaking of was Moesha. Moesha came on around about 1996. So Moesha's debut was around maybe the winter time of 96, if not the spring or summertime of 96. Can't remember because I was 7 years old then, maybe. I believe I was. No, I'm sorry. I was 9 years. No, I was 8 years old in 97. So I really don't know when it debuted. I just remember it coming on, and I used to watch the show. So the reason why he brought up the time frame of 25 years is because Judge Joe Brown, of which he will say himself, that he didn't get into Hollywood and doing the whole TV judge thing until 98. He didn't start until 98. So the person that she's speaking of, we don't even know who the hell she's speaking about. It's just that people correlated, since she's black, it was a black TV judge that stuck his tongue down her throat. So everybody started speculating that it was Judge Joe Brown. Now, I will say this. Have we not learned anything from Tasha K? Like, y'all are basically doing the exact same thing that Tasha K did, just that you're hiding behind a computer screen and a keyboard. And I will just say this. Y'all better study Tasha K, because Tasha K set a very good precedent of what can and cannot be said here on the interweb. So y'all do this as y'all may if y'all want, but y'all gonna seek some legal action against you pretty soon if Judge Joe Brown sees this through. Now let's continue.
I bring in my legal crew and proceed for defamation of character. You see, when they put my face next to hers and they start doing that little stuff there, that becomes innuendo. And I think I know where the deep pockets are, where I might proceed for defamation of character. Now, so far, she hasn't said anything that implicates me.
Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't. She didn't say any names. She just said it's not Judge Mathis.
Yeah. She just
Right.
want to be clear who it was not.
How many TV judges are there?
A lot.
At the time, and we will hear this a little later, there was about 15 of them during that time, I believe, across various networks. Now, this is why he's defending himself is because she left an opening. Instead of her just saying, I will not say the name of the person, instead of leaving it open, she said, well, Judge Mathis is great, right? That led people to speculate because, people are fickle, so they'll be like, oh, well, she's black. I'm pretty sure it was a black judge. The only other black judge that was on TV at the time was Judge Joe Brown. So we gonna go with Judge Joe Brown. And it's like, nah, like, you guys don't understand that there were various other ones. It could have been a woman judge, and it wasn't very many back then. The only one that we had at the time, I believe, was just Judge Judy. And that was it. So, I don't know. Let's continue this video, then I'll get into the article.
It was 25 years ago.
I don't know. That was the one part that I was like, 25 years ago.
I don't think it was too many TV judges on the same network as her around the same time.
This didn't happen 25 years ago. I never met her 25 years ago.
But she's been on more than one show, too. So we also don't know which network she's talking about.
Right. You're right, Angela.
Yeah, because it's not like just one show she's been on, you know? Here's more from what Judge Joe Brown had to say.
The law on defamation, it is sufficient if the innuendo that goes along with the objectionable language implies that it is someone else. They don't even have to say it. It can be innuendo. That's actionable. So somebody on a goddamn legal crew ought to say, you need to be careful what you do. Because even if you aren't saying it, if you are implying it, you become subject to a defamation action. Fact of the matter is, I don't know this woman, never met this woman, certainly haven't had any contact with her.
The word of the day is innuendo.
Innuendo. It's like an insinuation.
Okay, I love it.
All right, we are going to get some legal advice, though, from somebody, whether or not this innuendo would hold up in court as defamation.
Right.
Because I don't want to be the one over here speculating on what can and cannot be said.
Right, and I thought I was a lawyer, so maybe I'm not a lawyer. Maybe a real lawyer can tell us whether he has an actual case.
Right, so we'll find out from an actual lawyer.
Okay.
Anyway, that was petty as fuck. For her to say from an actual lawyer, as if Judge Joe Brown has never been an actual lawyer, which he went to school, UCLA to be exact, to be a actual lawyer, to then become an actual judge, to then become a TV judge. Like, they're not just hiring actors off the street to be judges. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Angela Yee? But anyway, let's get into this article. So, Judge Joe Brown could be in for some rough treatment after he spoke out about actress Sheryl Lee Ralph and her recent claims that she was sexually assaulted in the past by a famous television judge. Ralph revealed no names and ruled out just one famous TV judge as being the culprit, apparently prompting Brown in unsolicited comments to vehemently deny that he is the person that Abbott Elementary star was talking about. Brown even threatened to take legal action. In case you missed it, Ralph told Vanity Fair, hold on. It just says Vanity on my end. Told Vanity, I guess Vanity Fair, whatever, in an interview published last week that she experienced the unfortunate encounter during a industry event, but was advised against coming forward with the allegations at the time to avoid bad press. So this is the actual quote from Vanity. I'm at a very public place. I was suited. I had my suit on. I was handling my business for the television show I was on at the time. He and I were on the same network, Ralph said, recalling the allegation, the alleged incident. This man walked in, grabbed me by the back of my neck, turned me around, and rammed his nasty ass tongue down my throat, Ralph said. And everybody at the network saw it. So that's what she had to say about about the TV judge, right? So let me cue up the next video for you guys. Hopefully I can get it exactly where I need it. Okay, I can't, so that's good enough. Now, it also says Ralph later in the interview made it clear that she was not talking about Judge Greg Mathis of the Greg Mathis Court TV series. I love him. He's great. He's a great man, Ralph said about Mathis. Not him at all. He's a great man. This was another one. Ralph's comments sparked widespread speculation about whom she was talking about. So much so that Brown felt compelled to speak out. On Friday evening, Brown tweeted a staunch denial. And here is the denial. He says, "There's false rumors being spread that I mistreated a certain lady 25 years ago. I categorically deny both the accusations and acquaintance with the lady. Those rumors started with certain uh, certain identified parties in spread. They ought cease and desist or contemplate a defamation action." So those was his words. All right. So let me find it here in my paper. Let's see. Okay, so it says Brown offered a warning to anybody listening during an audio interview promoted by the Jasmine brand without ever saying Ralph's name. So this is what the Jasmine brand did. This is an audio clip, but I don't have the actual audio clip because he gets into it on another show that he's on frequently. So it says with this tweet from the Jasmine brand, it says hashtag Judge Joe Brown is speaking out amidst some speculation that actor Sheryl Lee Ralph was allegedly referring to him when discussing a famous TV judge that that sexually assaulted her years ago. Sheryl did not reveal the person's identifying during the interview. Why don't people know how to fucking write? It's just identity. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Identify. Anyway, so that's what they had to say, right? Now, so he also says, I might bring in my legal team and proceed for defamation of character, Brown said before adding, when they put my face next to hers, that becomes innuendo. So basically what I just did is basically me, and it's not me doing this. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't say that at all. I'm actually defending his stance. I believe Judge Joe Brown didn't do this. I believe that he is a law-abiding man and he doesn't know this woman. And I would also say, for the love of Sheryl Lee Ralph, she should have just said, I'm not talking about Greg Mathis. I most definitely aren't talking about Judge Joe Brown. It was another TV judge. That's what she should have said, because we don't have any other black judges other than Greg Mathis and Judge Joe Brown. So, then you got other people, but who knows? Who knows who it was? So, in this next clip I'm about to show you is Judge Joe Brown giving his statement, of which he basically is clearing his name for. So here we go.
Our lady who is producing her book, well, has produced her second book. I think it's called Diva 2.0.
We're talking about Sheryl Lee Ralph. We can say names. We're going to say names.
I don't know her name, because I'm totally unacquainted with the woman.
I'm going to say her name. We're talking about Sheryl Lee Ralph remarks on Way Up with Angela Yee.
Okay, that's who started this. All right. I think what she's trying to do is ramp up sales for her book. And I think when people listen to or objectively peruse the facts, that's the conclusion they'll get to. What happens between the two of them and some scurrilous elements on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, they ran with it and started putting my picture in association with the accusations, printed and audio. And that becomes innuendo that I am the person that did what she described. Now,
they didn't put your name or your pictures.
She didn't mention.
Viewers did. The social media, the people that
Social media
commented, and other content creators put your picture, and some will put a question mark, some did not. So the public was insinuating and assuming it was you.
Yes.
Now, no one has come out to say Sheryl Lee Ralph or Angela Yee has not come out to dispel it or give more clarity that it was not you.
Okay. The remark she did make was, oh, by the way,
I'm gonna play the video.
I know, but I'm just giving an opening statement. She exonerated Judge Mathis, who is a friend of hers. All right. Now, in the time frame, you will find out there were 14 or 15 other male TV judges. But in specifics, listen to what you're going to hear in this context. She says she had been hired by this studio, RDF. She says she was assaulted by a TV judge, Famous, who was also with this same studio. Now, when her show was new, they started taping in 1995, and the show aired the first time January 23rd, 1996. Okay? This is where it gets interesting. I didn't get brought into this mix until 1998, when my show started in late 1998. Now, in Hollywood, this would have been third going into fourth year for her show, and that would not be a new show. I was not with RDF. RDF sold the show she was with, the Moesha show, to a company called Big Ticket in 1998. And the year before that, RDF had hired Judge Judy, and she went with RDF to Big Ticket Television. Then they brought me in. Then they formed the Parkers after that. So I wasn't famous at the time. I didn't have a show when she stated the incidents occurred. That is when she said her show was new. And I think responsible journalism would have done the background research like you did. You got into it, and we discussed it, and some of my publicity people have looked into it. The responsible journalism would have commented on this. So what she's describing is essentially 4 years before I got involved in the industry. So it couldn't have been me. And I simply, before this got too much traction, and you remember the old thing we talk about all the time, tell a lie long enough, loud enough, and anybody will believe it, including the liar. It's not so much her. It's the other people that wanted to hear what they wanted to hear, because I stand for man up. I stand for protecting womanhood and childhood and promoting manhood. And basically, most of the people who chose to do the attack, who are males, are kind of a little derelict in those fields. And they have other things going that they use to irresponsibly hustle Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and most effectively YouTube. So that's where we get with this. So I said, first off, I do not know this woman. I'm not acquainted with this woman. I deny and categorically disclaim any involvement with what happened to this woman. It was unfortunate. No woman should be subjected to that, but I'm not the one. And I noted that certain persons who have been pushing this are known. And if they don't stop pushing this recklessly and creating this innuendo that it was me, then there is this thing called defamation. So you don't have to put the person's name if you put out innuendo that would cause people to assume that's who you're talking about. Like if you say number 45, the innuendo is you're talking about Donald Trump, not saying he's involved in this. Now, I have a suspect in mind personally, but I'm not going to say anything about it because I've got a deep pocket, and that would make me complicit in establishing innuendo that might defame somebody's character. I don't even know if the person's still alive, by the way. I don't think he is. So there were several somebodies present at that time who wound up with one of these shows.
We're going to get into the timeline with that.
And that's what the opening statement would be. So let's see what we have when we get into it.
Because what I want to do.
All right. So that was his statement. All right. So I'm gonna reiterate this. If you guys did not study Tasha K and what Cardi B has done to this person, then you're not paying attention to what you, or you're not studying what you're supposed to be studying when it comes to even if it's a blogger on YouTube, a radio show host, a TV host, what have you. You can't make defaming remarks about people, and people can't then run with it and make their own defaming remarks as well. Or even put his picture next to Sheryl Lee Ralph's. Now, I will say this. I believe Judge Joe Brown. I don't believe anything out of the ordinary happened. Even if he's ever been around Sheryl Lee Ralph, I don't think that he would do something like that. Like for somebody or for people to be like, well, yeah, you know, it was him, but it's like, nah, it wasn't him. Don't do that to that man because that man ain't got nothing to do with this. Leave that man out of this. Now, I will say this though. It is very weird that a lot of people are taken to their social media, taken to their Instagrams, their Twitters, what have you. They're going to these various outlets, posting pictures, making statements as if Judge Joe Brown is the culprit in all of this, and he's not. I actually believe Judge Joe Brown's words when he stated that he has nothing to do with this. He was very polite. He didn't even name the person by name. He just said the lady. All right. So if you guys can't take that as if you guys can't take that as a statement that you can believe, then I guess Judge Joe Brown be seeing y'all's asses in court. So y'all better be good with y'all's words because Judge Joe Brown ain't playing around. All right, so y'all have been warned not only by me but by him as well. Now, let's continue. So, the article states that that's very destructive. It's very destructive to my reputation. Brown said he has a long track record ensuring that women get justice when they've been done wrong. He also said he knows where the deep pockets are, where I might proceed for defamation of character. Brown later admitted that Ralph hasn't said anything that implicates me. Still he said the innuendo is sufficient grounds for a defamation case. Now, this is a lawyer speaking as well as a judge speaking, so you better pay close attention. Somebody on the goddamn legal crew ought to say you need to be careful what you do, because even if you aren't saying it, if you are implying it, you become subject to defamation action. Brown said. The fact the fact of the matter is I don't know the woman, never met this woman, certainly haven't had any kind of contact with her, he added. These aren't Brown's first public comments about the black women that garnered scrutiny. Back in October, when Brown was a mayoral candidate in Memphis, he suggested that a black woman in particular shouldn't be elected because she might get R-worded. I don't know if he actually said that or not, but this is what's written in the article. Credited down below. During a candidates forum, Brown was asked, why do you think your leadership is needed at a time like this as a black man instead of a black woman? The answer was likely not the one that was expected. Sorry, but some things men do real well, and one of the main problems is I don't want to get crude about it, but some places you need to go to exercise leadership. Some of the good ladies in here would get drugged into a abandoned apartment and R-worded, Brown said. That's one of the problems. Okay, well, if he said that, then shame on him, but he's making quite a good point, though. So I guess you either can take it with a grain of salt or you can just take his words as is. So this next section, Judge Joe Brown threatens to sue over rumors. Judge Joe Brown is speaking out against a sexual assault accusation made by Sheryl Lee Ralph, despite the fact that she did not name him as an alleged assaulter. Last week, after the Abbott Elementary star claimed a Famous TV judge groped and kissed her without her consent, she said the man in question was not Judge Greg Mathis, sparking internet speculations that she might be referring to Brown. A day later, Brown responded in a tweet that threatened legal action. There are false rumors being spread that I mistreated a certain lady about 25 years ago, wrote Brown, 75 years old. I categorically deny both the accusations and acquaintance with the lady. Those rumors started with certain identified parties and spread. They ought cease and desist or contemplate a defamation action. Brown was also responded to a follow-up tweet asking why Ralph, age 66, would lie about such serious allegations. Perhaps her congressman husband has an interest in the matter. Question. As things pertain to defeating his party's crippling grip on the area. All right, so Brown responded, seemingly referencing Ralph's husband, Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Ralph, 66, first discussed the alleged incident, which he says took place early in her career during an episode of The Way Up with Angela Yee podcast that was released on March 20th. According to Ralph, I was at a very public place. I was suited, had my suit on. I was handling my business for the television show. I was on at that time. He and I were on the same network. She continued. This man walked in, grabbed me by the back of my neck, turned me around, and rammed his nasty ass tongue down my throat. And everybody at the network saw it. Ralph claimed that the alleged incident took place during her time on Moesha, which ran on the now defunct UPN network from 96 to 2001, and said that she wanted to file a police report but was discouraged from doing so by network executives. Ralph otherwise provided no more details on the man she says was responsible. Brown's courtroom series, Judge Joe Brown, aired for 15 seasons from 1998 to 2013. The judge continues his career with political aspirations and is currently running in the 2003 Memphis mayoral election. Now, one thing I want to bring up is this: is that it's like people making these speculations, which are dangerous, not only for them but for other people as well, because this ain't nothing but Black Twitter being Black Twitter. Like, how can you just sit there and say that Judge Joe Brown is the culprit in this? He is the man that did these bad things or what have you. Because I see this as unfair. Because although you can say, well, yeah, it was this person and I believe her, and let's get into that as well. By people asking him that why would she lie about this? Well, he's not denying that something happened to her. What he's denying is that people are saying that he did it. That's what he's denying. He's not denying the fact that Sheryl Lee Ralph had something bad happen to her. Not saying that it reached any further than a kiss, but he's basically stating that I'm not the one who did it. That's basically all he's saying. And for people to take issue with that is abysmal. Like, how are you gonna sit there and think that somebody is supposed to take your rhetoric as of him doing it? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever, for the simple fact that the man's basically coming out and stating that, no, I am not the man you guys are looking for. There's someone else. But no one wants to believe. Look, when people tell the truth, I believe people don't really give a fuck. When someone's telling the truth about them and what happens in their life, I believe people tend to not listen. Because the fact of the matter is this: it's not sexy enough. It's not good enough for people just to be like, oh, well, I believe Sheryl because I believe he did it and blah, 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 and this and that. It's like, well, if you're saying this on social media and his legal team is running filters of his name and Sheryl Lee Ralph's name, and you're steady pushing this along, you're going to get indicted. Like, you're going to be served by your local sheriff's department. So why are you doing this to yourself? Might as well just stop now. Because if you continue with this, the man, he said it himself. He has deep pockets. All right? He's running for mayor for Memphis. He's trying to clean Memphis up. So what is the issue with people taking with him by him stating, I have nothing to do with this? Why are you taking issue with this? It makes no sense. Why are you sitting here basically stating, well, I believe he did it? Like, why? He's saying he didn't do anything. So why are you sitting here just well, I don't give a fuck what he says. I believe he did it. Like, it's like, if you're saying this online, you're going to get some paper in the mail, if not delivered from your local sheriff's department. And you're going to be served if you like it or not. And if you don't have the money to make it to Memphis, well, I guess you forfeit your right, and you will be basically looked at as guilty. So stop now or forever hold your peace. Anyway, that was the main topic of the night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be moving on to the random topics portion of the show. So if you guys can, if you guys want to call in once again, you can do it with the link that is pinned in the live chat, or you can call the number for Marcus Speaks Now, which is 302-283-9791. All right. So either you can hit the link or you can call the number. All right. So with that being said, let's get into tonight's random topics of the week. Also, if you could do me this one favor, I forgot to do this. Please like this video, subscribe if you are new here, hit that bell icon to all, and share this to your social medias. And I will gladly appreciate that. So, tonight's random topics of the week's overview is Jonathan Majors arraigned on multiple charges, Nashville school shooting, and Trump's indictment goes through. So, I can't wait to cover that part. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's see what we got here. So, last week I was on live just as well with this accusation of Judge Joe Brown. I was on live when I received this information. So, with this whole Jonathan Majors thing, it was basically put on TMZ that he assaulted a woman in New York, and he was later arrested for the alleged assault. All right. So, how about I say we get into this video and let's see what they have to say about it.
He's starring Creed 3 and the latest Marvel movie, but over the weekend, actor Jonathan Majors was charged with assault after a 30-year-old woman told cops he attacked her. Les Trent reports Majors says he's innocent.
Actor Jonathan Majors is speaking out today after his arrest for allegedly injuring his girlfriend during a domestic violence incident. His attorney says, "We are quickly gathering evidence with the expectation that all charges will be dropped." Police say Jonathan Majors called 911 himself from an apartment here in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan. He reportedly told police that his girlfriend was having an emotional crisis. But when cops arrived, she told them a different story, claiming that he struck her during a taxi cab ride after she grabbed for his phone to read a text message sent to him by another woman.
Before they go through with this, I don't take any of this shit with a grain of salt. I actually do pay attention to certain matters like this because I've been through matters like this. All right, I've been to court for shit like this, and it's not pretty, for the simple fact that, you know, the judge doesn't know you, your lawyer hardly knows you, the prosecutors don't know you, so they're painting this picture as if you're a bad guy. Basically, what's happening right now. So, from a brother to another brother, Jonathan Majors, do all you can, get all your ducks lined up, make sure you got the proper text message that she went off of, because I believe they said that she made it to where she went through a crisis because she saw a text message that was on his phone. So, as he went to the police, as did I. because, but I hope you guys know this. Whoever looks more disheveled than the other person, that person gets locked up. So, 1 second, yo. So anyway, what was I saying? Whoever looks more disheveled than the other person, that person's going to jail. As we see, Jonathan Majors got locked up, but there's also another factor. It was a skinny white girl that was allegedly assaulted by him. So, I'm saying my matter, it was a black woman, but with this, it looks bad. Not only for him, because he just starred in 2 blockbuster movies. He was, I would say, sort of the star in one, a co-star in another, and he you know, it's like for this information to come out when both of these movies are battling neck and neck at the box office, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. Like it's to the point of this. Marvel is in talks right now of recasting his character as the Marvel Big Bad for Phase 5. Not only that, a statement came out. I don't know if it's in here in this article that I have or not, but he also stated in a press release that he will no longer watch any Marvel movies, because I believe not only has he did his role for Kang, not Kang, in Ant-Man and in the Wasp in Quantumania, but he also has done a couple episodes or so in the Loki show that's coming up. I believe it's either this summer or later this year. I believe it's coming out. And who knows how many other movies he's you know been filming for. So, you know, it's weird that he has to go through this, knowing, you know, he has two movies you know coming out that's out now that he is starring in, and you know he's like this new big name now, and you know everybody wants to see, you know, what he's in. I'm pretty sure people are rewatching Lovecraft Country all over again. I think that's the name of the show. And I'm pretty sure people are, you know, just looking into all the other movies that he's probably been in. Also, he, I think, inked a deal with the U.S. military to do commercials to get, you know, people to enlist, and they pulled that from him. So I have no clue what his future looks like in Hollywood right now. Some people are saying, and this is where we get conspiratorial, some people are saying that this is a embarrassment ritual that happens in Hollywood. Some people are saying that he might have owed somebody that he didn't pay back, meaning, not saying that he owed money, but meaning that maybe it was a favor that he had to do that he didn't do yet, and they've been waiting patiently for him to do, and he just hasn't yet to get around to it. So that's only the speculations that I have about this, but let's get back into the video, and then we'll read the article.
She had a cut behind her ear and bruises on her face and neck. But his attorney says the woman has recanted the allegations, and there is video from the vehicle where the alleged assault happened, proving his innocence. The accuser has not been identified, but Majors is reportedly dating Grace Jabari, a dancer and actress.
Jonathan Majors!
The charges could not come at a worse time for Majors. 2023 is his breakthrough year. He is starring in 2 blockbusters, Creed 3, you don't remember me, huh? And Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. He was also an Oscar presenter with Michael B. Jordan. Who could have imagined he would be arrested just 2 weeks later?
And the fallout over Majors' arrest has already begun. The Pentagon has pulled 2 Army recruiting ads that featured Majors. They were produced to run during March Madness.
All right. So, with that being said, let's get into this article. So, Jonathan Majors was arraigned on several assault and harassment charges Sunday. The Manhattan DA's office tells CNN, which this is Alvin Bragg's work. We'll get into Alvin Bragg later. The complaint does not name the female accuser, but claims the defendant did strike her about the face with an open hand. So he smacked her, causing sustainable pain and a laceration behind her ear. So she must have had earrings on, or he had rings on his finger. She also claims the defendant put his hands on her neck, causing bruising and substantial pain. CNN has reached out to representatives for Majors for comment on his arraignment. According to the DA's office, a judge released Majors on his recognizance. Basically, they released him to his own abilities. According to the DA's office, a judge released Majors on his I read that already. On his recognizance and granted a limited order of protection. Majors' attorney told CNN Sunday that there are 2 written statements from the woman recanting these allegations, adding that they are statements from I said that already. Adding that they are presenting evidence to the DA's, including video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the episode. Attorney Priya Chandra, I hope I said his attorney's name right, expects the charges to be dropped. The Manhattan DA's office would not comment regarding the defense attorney's claims the woman recanted. The NYPD deferred to the DA's office. Majors, who recently starred in Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, was arrested Saturday morning in a alleged domestic dispute. New York police told CNN over the weekend Majors, 33, he's only a year younger than me, was taken into custody following a 911 call made from an apartment in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan. That's where all the soy boys hang out. According to the statement from the New York Police Department. In addition to his recent high-profile roles, Majors, who was nominated for an Emmy for his role in HBO's Lovecraft Country, is poised to be a major part of the next phase of Marvel's cinematic universe. Which I said that they're looking at recasting him because they don't want any bad press around any of their actors who they hire to do these movies. So we might be looking at a White Kang in coming months. For the simple fact that, it's the multiverse, so, Kang can be anybody. Just saying. So, the only thing I really have to say on this is, hey man, make sure you know what you're doing, get your shit together, make sure your ducks are in a row, because you about to be on a ride that will change the rest of your life. Believe me, I know. All right. So that concludes the first part of these random topics. Let's get into this next tragic story that happened in Nashville. So if you guys have been living underneath of a rock, or you don't watch the news, or you don't have Twitter, I'm pretty sure if you have TikTok or Instagram or whatever, Snapchat, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. So Monday, there was a school shooting in Nashville at a private school. The assailant, I'm not saying the person's name, nor do I have pictures of this person to make them famous. These people, or that person, I should say these people, because the person looks at themselves as trans. And which this is the weird part of out of all of this. The trans community is basically giving us hell because they feel as though that this would have never happened if you guys just leave the trans community to their own devices. And we say to that, no, because you're just fucking up shit. Like you're not doing anything that's worthwhile here. Like you want to put kids through trauma when it comes to the rest of their lives and them making these decisions for themselves. So, there was an outcry from one of the trans people, I guess, that live in Nashville to start fucking shit up, they said. And matter of fact, why don't I just play y'all the video? I believe I saved it. Let's see. See if I got it. I didn't save it. Well, matter of fact, I think I have it. Wait a minute. Let me go to my profile. It's here somewhere. Okay, here. 1 second. All right. There we go. This is what the trans princess had to say. Hold on. Let me turn this music off. No, hold on. All right. Let me see if it works now. Why does this give me such a hard time right now? Let me see if this works. All right. I don't know how I can fix this, but basically, this video is this this video is basically that this trans person basically stating that they should start fucking shit up, and that they've had enough and it's time for the resistance to happen and all this other stuff. So Thursday, I believe, if it wasn't Wednesday, it was Thursday. Some people went to go and protest at the Tennessee National at the Tennessee Capitol building, and they basically they stormed the Capitol just like January 6th. I believe no one was arrested, but I haven't really looked into that story at all because I really didn't care. But let's just get to what was I about to play. Let's play this video, and then we'll get to the article.
The first about 8 or 10 shots were very loud.
It's heartbreaking, a family's worst nightmare.
I can't imagine the feeling of the parents who dropped their kids off at school today.
How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them?
Heartbreak and tragedy following yet another school shooting, this time at a private school in Nashville, Tennessee.
3 children and 3 adults are now dead. The alleged shooter, a 28-year-old woman, is also dead. Our Dana Revick joining us now in studio with the latest information from authorities in Tennessee. Dana.
And we learned tonight that these are very young children, just 9 years old. The adults killed, we're told, were the head of the school, a custodian, and a substitute teacher. The shooter, identified as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, a former student of the school who lived with her father. Investigators say Hale, identified as transgender with no criminal history, who they say planned this attack in detail.
Confirmed active shooter. Metro Midtown is on a school shooting. 4th of multiple victims down.
We heard many shots, just like really, really loud.
Just before 10:15 this morning, Nashville police got the 911 call. An armed woman, first believed to be a teenager, inside the Covenant School. A team of 5 officers entered the building.
When the officers got to the second level, they saw a shooter, a female, who was firing. The officers engaged her. She
sorry. That's why they're the trans community of Tennessee is so upset. So the simple fact is that every newscaster and the chief of police of Nashville and all of this, they're basically getting his gender wrong. As if that matters. But it's that they're having a whole conniption because of this. So anyway, let's continue.
Fatally shot.
Police say the woman, later identified as a 28-year-old Nashville resident, was carrying 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun. She shot 3 adult staff members and 3 students. 5 of them.
So before we go any further, the U.S. government wants to talk about gun reform now. Again. Because this seems to happen right around when election time is starting and or when election time is here. Because they need something to basically go off of. They need, to garner the attention of future constituents, constituents that they already have. So they want to basically talk about gun reform. Well, the one, I forgot his name, he just had a shout match in the halls of the Capitol building in DC, talking about what did he say? He said more guns equal more death, and that's untrue because it's not guns who kill people, it's stupid motherfuckers with guns who kill people. So why is it that every time something like this comes around, gun reform is has to be talked about, which makes no sense? Because this is why. It makes no sense for the simple fact is that it's not the gun that is pulling the trigger itself. The gun can't do that. If you sit the gun stationary, it won't do anything. But a motherfucker like the assailant who did this to not only 3 9-year-olds but also 3 adults who worked in the building as well, they're trying to drum up the fact that, well, if you have these style of weapon, it's more dangerous and blah blah blah. No gun is any more dangerous than any other gun. All guns are dangerous, but you have to have the proper training to know how to work the gun. You have to have the proper wherewithal to know I shouldn't be pointing this at a motherfucker. And you have to also have the cognizance of knowing this can be used as a tool, or this can be used as, something that I can just shoot people with. Of which the assailant made their bed, so now they're sleeping in it in the morgue. But, no one wants to talk about that, so let's keep going. I'm sorry.
Were transported to the hospital. All 6 of the gunshot victims died from their injuries. They have now been identified as 9-year-old Evelyn Deekhouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney, 61-year-old Cynthia Peak, 60-year-old Catherine Kuntz, and 61-year-old Mike Hill.
It's heartbreaking. A family's worst nightmare.
The president responding to this.
That imbecile made a damn joke at this press conference. I guess nobody has buyer's remorse yet. But anyway. Yeah, this idiot was on live television making jokes about this. As if this is something you should be joking about. 3 9-year-old kids are now dead. Their families are mourning the loss of these children. Not only those 3 children, of which I always say, the most unprotected group in this world are children. Then you have 3 60-year-olds at that, 3 60-year-olds who died. So now a grandfather is gone, a father is gone, an uncle is gone, an aunt, a sister, a granddaughter, grandsons. Like, come on now. Now each one of those families, 6 of those families, have to deal with an empty space, not only in a bed, at the dinner table, in a car seat. Shit, when carnivals and fun stuff comes around, they can't make those plans anymore. So, y'all's president wants to laugh and joke about this shit if this is something to joke about. The hell is wrong with this dude? Anyway, I digress. Let's get into this, the rest of this video.
Latest mass school shooting as police are just beginning to piece together this crime.
We've also determined there were maps drawn of the school in detail of surveillance, entry points, etc. We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors.
Dozens of students evacuated from the school, reunited with...
Wait. I thought all schools had bulletproof glass. of which I will say this. I once had a guidance counselor that when I was in elementary school, and it was always spoken about from the teachers. they they used to have us show compassion to him. Please show some sort of blah blah blah. He comes from a school that didn't have windows. We was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about, lady? Like, how will we? How should we show some sort of anything towards this man because he didn't have a school that didn't have windows? If anything, that's a smart thing to be honest, because you don't got windows, they can't be shot through. So every school I went to had big ass windows at that. So I was in school during I was in the 5th grade when the Columbine shooting was going on. I was in the 5th grade. So let's continue.
Parents this afternoon as investigators searched the shooter's home.
Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of it?
Now, this woman that's talking right now, she's being not identified, but people online are identifying her as a crisis actor. So if you guys don't know what a crisis actor is, a crisis actor is basically a person who comes around during these types of crises, and they either cry or they get on the news and share their 2 cents of how things are, and or you'll see them in pictures. From what speculations are saying, this woman was somewhere else during another crisis that happened, and I don't know if she hopped on the news or it was pictures of her crying or not or whatever, but we can only take this with a grain of salt for the simple fact that we don't know this lady. We don't even know if she lives around there. From what the speculators are saying, she was on vacation during the time of all of this at her sister's house. But we don't know. We don't have any evidence to substantiate that, so we can only speculate.
Mass shootings.
Ashby Beasley, who survived the Highland Park parade shooting with her son, happened to be on vacation in Nashville and drove to the scene speaking to reporters.
I have met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them?
And those guns stole precious lives from us today in Nashville. And in this dark hour, let us support each other. Let us go and hug our children a little bit closer tonight.
Police say they also found a manifesto in the shooter's home. They confirmed Hale obtained at least 2 of the 3 weapons legally in Nashville. And when asked if they felt the shooter targeted this Christian school because this person identifies as transgender, Chief Drake said that is a theory they are investigating, calling this a targeted attack. Back to you.
All right. So let's get into the article. So the article states, new details have emerged from Monday's shooting in Nashville that left 3 children and 3 adults dead when an assailant targeted a Christian school, making it the latest American community to be rocked by a despair and trauma of gun violence. Police are searching for a motive, of which they say that this person had a manifesto. And the manifesto is now closed. No one can look at this manifesto. They must be going through it and redacting some things out of it. So, because of what we know is probably in this article, that this wasn't the only place that this person was going to go. So, let's be thankful that this person was stopped. All right. So, let's get back into the article. At a news conference Tuesday, Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake said authorities learned through interviews with the assailant's parents that the shooter had legally purchased 7 firearms from 5 local gun stores. 3 were used in the attack at the Covenant School, Officer Drake said. The parents said the shooter, whom authorities identified as the assailant, was under doctor's care for emotional disorder, Drake said. So the title to this article is called "Nashville Shooter Was Under Doctor's Care for Emotional Disorder," of which she was under a psychologist's care because she had emotional disorders. I would say around her transition. So I'm not saying that that's the reason why, but I'm saying that could be playing a part in this. So let's continue. Law enforcement knew nothing about the treatment the shooter was receiving, but the parents felt the shooter should not own weapons. Drake said the assailant's parents believed that the shooter had sold their only weapon, and were unaware other weapons were hidden within the home. Drake said the attacker left the parents' home on Monday carrying a red bag and dismissed questions about what was inside. The shooter's mother told police that because she didn't know her child had additional firearms, she didn't think any differently. If it had been reported that the shooter was suicidal or was going to kill someone, had that been made known to us, then we would have tried to get those weapons, Drake said. He did not explain what that would entail or how that might work legally. It does have a law that prohibits gun possession by people who have been involuntarily committed or found to be a danger to themselves or others. But the bar for the I'm sorry. But the bar for that is incredibly high, and Jonathan Metzel, the director of the Department of Medicine, Health and Society at uh, Vanderbilt University, and an expert on gun violence and mental illness. On Tuesday, police released body camera video from 2 of the officers who responded to the shooting. Now, I will say this: we have never seen footage be produced so fast. This footage got produced so goddamn fast it made everybody's head spin. That's how fast this footage came out. Now, it's a good thing that the footage did come out because we're all grateful to know that, yes, the assailant was put down by these 2 officers right here. So I want to applaud these officers myself. Several other lives from not being taken away from us. I'm only sorry that y'all couldn't have got there any faster, so they couldn't have, killed anybody else. So, or the first 6 victims of this. So let's get back into this article. The assailant was fatally shot by officers in. Hold on. So that's body cam. That's a picture of body cam footage. I believe the assailant was trying to, or if not, shooting at officers that was on the ground. The assailant was on the 2nd floor. The officer Rex Engelbert was one of the two officers that shot this person, so nothing else could happen. Okay, so the assailant was fatally shot by officers in the in an encounter that was captured on video. It shows that within about 3 minutes and 20 seconds of parking at the school, officers located and killed the shooter. The entire incident lasted about 14 minutes, with the first call coming in at 10:13 a.m. and officers engaged the shooter at 10:27 p.m. Damn, that was fast. Well, not really, but it was fast. So Officer Drake said, in one body cam video worn by Officer Rex Engelbert, officers arrived at the Covenant School and are met outside by an employee. The kids are all locked down, but we have two that we don't know where they are. If you watch the body cam footage, you'll see that they blurred out a kid that this person killed, and it's sad to see that. So let's see. But we don't know. But we have two that we don't know where they are. The employee tells Engelbert. She also tells him that someone fired into my window and that they are upstairs, pointing towards the school's second floor. The pops of gunfire grew louder as police rushed toward the noise and around the corner to a common area near a second floor window. There's the second. Hold on. There's the sound of broken glass, which police said came from the attacker shooting at police cars arriving on campus. Engelbert, armed with a rifle, opens fire on the assailant. Officer Michael Colazzo fires 4 more times. This is, I believe, Colazzo's the other guy. Fires 4 more shots as he and other officer approach the assailant and yell at them to stop moving and get their hands away from the gun. At around 10:11 a.m., the attacker, whom police said was armed with assault-style weapons, which anything can be an assault-style weapon, so we'll just say they were equipped with guns. Let's just say that. That they were equipped with guns, shots through a set of glass doors and ducks through them to enter the building. The footage then shows the shooter prowling the empty halls with a weapon drawn. The police identified the three children killed in the attack as Evelyn. I have no idea how to say this person's last name, so we're gonna go to the video again to see what the names are.
The first about 8 or 10 shots were very loud.
It's heartbreaking.
Injuries. They have now been identified as 9-year-old Evelyn Deekhouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney, 61-year-old Cynthia Peak, 60-year-old Catherine Kuntz, and 61-year-old Mike Hill.
All right. So
now let's.
So those are the names. Evelyn Deekhouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney. All age 9 years old. That is so sad, man. And three adults as head of school: Catherine Kuntz, 60-year-old Cynthia Peak, and 61-year-old as substitute teacher, and Mike Hall, 61, a custodian. That is sad that these people had to die the way that they did. So, hey man, I'm glad that they caught this person, they killed this person, because it's atrocious that America has to keep going through this, but at the same time, lawmakers in at the Capitol building in DC can't get through that. Well, it's mainly the Democrats. They can't get through their thick fucking skulls that it's not the guns that's killing everybody, it's the stupid motherfuckers with guns that's killing people. And not only that, to those what's that Texas town called that had the same issue and they waited for a lot of people to die? I forgot that damn town's name. But that school now is no longer in session anymore. So that's sad as well. That not only did the kids die, but these fuckers waited for what, an hour or so, 45 minutes or so, before they even acted to do anything. But I'm glad that these officers acted as soon as they got that call. I applaud them for that. So, moving on to this final topic. Trump to be arraigned Tuesday without cuffs. Now, told y'all last week that we should be looking at this week. I did say a particular day, and it didn't happen that day, but the Manhattan DA was like, the hell with it. Let's go through with this, along with the grand jury that actually made this indictment possible. But we have to put this into perspective. There's a possibility that Trump could walk smooth from this. Just he'll dust his hands off and be like, hey, I ain't had nothing to do with this. Anyway, let's see what this video has to say about it first, and then we'll get into the article.
Now let's just look towards Tuesday. Former President Trump allegedly, reportedly, plans to fly to New York Monday, then turn himself in on Tuesday. Now, this is going to take high levels of coordination between the Secret Service and the NYPD. So how are they going to pull it off? Chuck Marino is a former Secret Service agent, and he joins us now. Chuck, great to have you with us. Tell me how you expect Tuesday to unfold.
Yeah, good evening, Will. Look, while it's certainly an unprecedented situation here that we find ourselves in, regardless of the situation, what will stay consistent is the extremely thorough protective methodologies that the Secret Service employs with local partners around the country on a daily basis. So, for example, prior to Tuesday, the Secret Service is paying close attention to the intelligence to keep an eye on potential protests, disruptive activities, and also for any specific and credible threats that may emerge based on the increased media coverage and the divisiveness of the decision to bring charges against the former president. They're also working on the site security, that is, the security around the courthouse. They're working very closely, as they do in New York each and every day, with the NYPD to make sure that that venue is going to be safe and secure for the former president. And then finally, you have the protection detail, which remains with the former president 24/7. They are the ones that will make the trip to New York and anywhere else the former president decides to go. They're the tip of the spear to keep the former president very safe.
Yeah, and Chuck, I mean, there's been some question and there's some doubt about whether or not a traditional booking would take place. First of all, for most white-collar criminals or alleged criminals in any case, but much less a former president of the United States, in terms of handcuffs, mugshots, fingerprinting. But I would assume, to the extent of your knowledge when it comes to this, he would always be accompanied by Secret Service.
Absolutely, no doubt, always within eyesight. I will tell you the one thing the Secret Service will not put themselves in the middle of and not be a part of is any negotiation or talks between the district attorney's office and Trump's legal team. It's not their place, not their wheelhouse. They are not going to get involved in any type of process decisions as those are made.
Well, what an unprecedented day in American history. Never happened before. We expect it to go down next Tuesday. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Thank you, Will.
As he said, this has never been done before. Never has a former president has ever been indicted in a criminal case that he basically won years prior. Like, this has never happened. But let's see what they have to say about the matter. So, after being indicted by a Manhattan grand jury, former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned in a court on Tuesday, a law enforcement source has told Fox News. Judge Juan Merchan is a trial judge presiding over the case, which stems from Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's investigation into alleged hush money payments Trump made to porn star Stormy Daniels in 2016, which is actually false. He didn't actually make the payments himself. Some people are saying that Trump had his lawyer at the time, I believe his name was Michael Cohen, make the initial payment from his own money, and then Trump reimbursed the man, I guess over time or all in one fell swoop, who knows. But we do know that when Trump went to trial the first time back in 2006, I believe, that he won the case and Stormy had to pay him back or whatever. So who knows if that money that he got from the case got transferred over to Cohen's account. Who knows what happened? I'm not making any speculations here. I'm just trying to draw a picture. So with that being said, it's like, are y'all willing to go down in history as the first DA's office to ever try a former president? Now, although the World Court once what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. George Bush Jr. and all of his cohorts, Condoleezza Rice, Powell, what's his first name? I forgot his name. Colin Powell. It's various other names in there too. Of their, atrocity that they did to the Middle East of lying about weapons of mass destruction. But that's the World Court that wants them. But we're talking about a person who wasn't president at the time, which happened years ago. The woman in question, Stormy Daniels, who allegedly had an affair with Donald Trump. That's what you're saying. And she obliged. And she, as I said last week, I watched a Vice interview of her talking about this. And she said that she regrets every minute of it. But, you can only take her words with a grain of salt as well. Because we all know how this is circling around Trump as if, him being a businessman at the time and him having a successful TV show at the time, it's like, I'm not saying that women are beating down Trump's door to get at him, but I'm saying they looking at them dollar signs and he might look good to them. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, Trump is scheduled to be arraigned at 2:15 p.m. in Merchan's courtroom on the 15th floor at 100 and Center Street in New York City. In addition, the Trump's attorney Joe Tacopina, I guess that's how you say his name. A second source has confirmed that Trump has made arrangements with the district attorney's legal team to surrender without handcuffs. Law enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Secret Service, New York Police Department, FBI, and New York State court officers in the DA's office will meet Friday afternoon, which was yesterday, to finalize details about the logistics and security of Trump's arrest. The Secret Service will determine how Trump is brought in. The source, hold on. The source familiar said. Sources previously told Fox News that Bragg had required that Trump surrenders to his office Friday after the grand jury voted to indict him Thursday evening. But the Secret Service delayed his surrender. The indictment of the indictment of current or former president of the United States is unprecedented in American history. The criminal charges against Trump come after a year-long investigation into a $130,000 payment to Daniels and in another $150,000 payment to former Playboy model Karen McDaniel or McDougal. This is one thing I want to say about this. The only person talking is Stormy Daniels. This Karen person ain't saying a motherfucking thing. Because it's probably more than what she was making as not only a model, but a playmate or whatever. Like, she was probably only getting room and board as far as that goes. But you know, she probably making a whole lot of money, or she probably made a whole lot of money when she was paid $150,000 of them dollars. She probably retired afterwards and started investing. For all we know, she could have an adult toy line out right now. For all we know, like she didn't say shit. Like, she was like, I don't want no part of this. But Stormy's speaking out about all of this. Go figure, I guess. I guess the porn industry doesn't make as much money as whatever industry that McDougal, however the hell you say her last name, is a part of. But let's continue. Allegedly, to keep them quiet about alleged sexual liaisons they had with Trump. That's not the word. Well, yeah, that is the word. Liaisons they had with Trump during the first campaign for the presidency. Trump had denied the affairs and any wrongdoing. Those payments had been investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York and by the Federal Election Commission. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York opted out of charging Trump related to the Daniels payment in 2019, even as his then attorney, Michael Cohen, implicated him as part of his plea deal on campaign finance violations. The Federal Election Commission also tossed its investigation into the matter in 2021. The evening we contacted Mr. Trump's attorney to coordinate his surrender to the Manhattan DA's office for arraignment on a Supreme Court indictment, which remains under seal, a spokesperson for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office said in a statement Thursday. That was a mouthful. Guidance will be provided when the arraignment date is selected. Trump reacted by slamming Bragg for his obsession with trying to get Trump, while warning the move to charge a former president of the United States will backfire. This is political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history, Trump said in a statement. From the time I came down the golden escalator at Trump Tower, and even before I was sworn in as your president of the United States, the radical left Democrats, the enemy of the hardworking men and women of this country, have been engaged in a witch hunt to destroy the Make America Great Again movement. The investigation into Trump was opted in 2019. I'm sorry, was opened in 2019 by then Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance. The probe was focused on possible bank, insurance, and tax fraud. The case initially involved financial dealings of Trump's Manhattan properties, including the flagship Fifth Avenue building, Trump Tower, and the valuation of his 213-acre estate, Seven Springs in Westchester. Last year, the investigation led to tax fraud charges against the Trump Organization and its finance chief, Alan Wieselberg. I guess that's how you say his name. But yeah, that's everything, people. Like, they're about to indict this man. I don't know how it's gonna go. Hopefully it doesn't go any further than, the indictment. They find him not guilty, and then he can run for president or whatever the hell he wants to do. But I will say this, and I know I've been sitting here stuck for a minute, but I'm about to fix myself. All right, 1 second. I have to wait for my OBS to come back. I'll be right there in just a second. Coming at you in 3, 2, 1. So, this is unprecedented. It never happened before. This is the first time that something like this will ever happen. And who knows, man? Who knows what will happen next Tuesday? I guess we'll just have to wait. So, I guess the New York state's attorney is making America wait again. So, that's all I got for you guys tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys know more than what you did already before about all these topics that I spoke on. But let's do a slight summary of what's going on. So, we all know that Pearly Things is a racist, or a soon-to-be racist, or bigot, however you want to look at it. That's basically all I really have to say about that. Let's hope that this whole Judge Joe Brown thing blows over, because he is running for mayor for Memphis, and I believe with his plans that he has for the Memphis community, I believe that it'll be a good thing if they elect him as mayor, because he has some very good plans for the people of Memphis. So I hope you guys find it within yourselves to elect Judge Joe Brown into office, because he's about to make that city look a whole lot better than what it is. Also, Jonathan Majors, I'm with you, brother. I hope that all of this blows over, because you ain't do that shit. I believe you ain't do that shit, and if you did do that shit, be looking at a very long court case. And do some self-reflection while you are in court, because it's gonna change you for the better. I'm letting you know this now. Also, with this whole Nashville school shooting, I'm glad that they got their ass. I'm gonna call them they, because I don't know what the fuck they want to be called anymore. As if it really matters. They're not here anymore, but those cops did a good thing. So you guys, I applaud you for that. I might as well just applaud you already. For this whole Trump thing, like I said, we'll just have to see next week what happens. Because I gave you guys a date. It didn't happen that date, but it did happen in the week of what a person that I told you guys that that does these number crunches or whatever. So shout out to Jay Pylon for giving us the date of the week that he was going to be arraigned, or indicted. So shout outs to you, man. So that's all I really got for y'all. So how about we get into these promotions, and I'm gonna get you guys on out of here because I got a little certain video that I want to watch, and I might do a video too next week if it's good enough. So, people, if you are listening to my voice, please listen up. Now, every Friday and every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do this here I do a game stream called Marcus Speaks Play. Marcus Speaks Play, you can see at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so be here, be square. Also, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well on Saturday, I do this here podcast called Marcus Speaks Live. You can catch me live every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you know your regional time zone, right? I don't know what it is in Europe, but I know what it is on the East Coast. So just go back an hour of each one. That's what you got. That's the time. Also, check me out. Don't forget to put those links in the bottom if you want to find me on social media, or if you want to subscribe to me either here on YouTube or my Rumble channel. So next I forgot how I got subscribed. But whenever I reach 25 subscribers on Rumble, I can start simulcasting over to you. So I want you guys to hit that link in the description box. You guys follow me over there, and I want to give y'all some good content once that happens, because I want the fun stuff, right? Plus, I want you guys to start calling in and hitting that link. And with that being said, if you ever want to come up here and talk to me, you can. You just have to follow the 3 rules. By hitting that link, I only ask you to do this. Please be on camera at all times. That means here on the backstage, and if you want to come up here with me. Right? So the second rule is, although if you don't want to be on camera, that is fine. You still have to be on camera back here to the backstage. There's a questionnaire back here, not a questionnaire, but there's a question back here in the private chat that I want you guys to answer so I can better accommodate you. Right? So put your name and your answer, and I'll accommodate you from there. Also, please do yourself a favor, silence all background noise. If you do want to come up here, make sure you wear headphones, some suitable headphones, to where I won't hear a lot of stuff. So wear headphones as well. I should put that in the description. And if you don't want to hit the link, I now have a call-in number that you can call to come up and speak to me if you want. So that number is 302-283-9791. I will be hitting Do Not Disturb once I get off of here. So don't get any ideas if anybody wants to play any pranks. But the number is 302-283-9791. Right? And also, if you could do me this one favor, please like this video, subscribe if you're new here, hit that bell icon for all. Also, share this to your social media. I would appreciate that if you would. And the last thing that I really have for you guys tonight is my words of wisdom. That is, focus on getting that money, because we all know what world we're in. Also, drink more water for health purposes. It helps you lose weight, it helps hydrate you. So do what you have to do. Hey, if you don't want to just drink regular regular water, drink some coconut water. It's like nature's Gatorade. Also, mind your own damn business because that's for mental health purposes, and you shouldn't be getting anybody else's business any damn way. So make sure you mind your own business. Also, lastly, make sure you do your own research. It helps you out along. I have been Marcus. This has been Marcus Speaks Live, and I thank y'all for watching. And I'll check you guys out next week. Peace out.